At one point, I was working 3 jobs and going to college, hustling day and night to make ends meet. It felt impossible to ever leave that world. But what if I told you that experience gave me the exact skills I needed to build a 7-figure business? Welcome to Profit from Payments, the podcast that helps you break free from the 9-to-5 and build real passive income through payment processing. And if you stick with me till the end, you'll learn and be able to apply these life-changing skills that shaped my entrepreneurial journey to your life. So the first lesson that I learned that I want to talk about is getting out of your comfort zone. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to give you an example of one of my first jobs, which was working at Dunkin Donuts. So when I started there, I started by the register. It was early in the morning, and my first day was to literally shadow the cashiers, just to see how it works and pick up on it. Well, that really discouraged me because I started seeing everybody, just all of the cashiers were so quick on their feet, getting bagels, donuts ready, getting coffee ready for customers that are just, they see them parking, they recognize their cars, they know them by name, they know their orders. It was just crazy, way overwhelming, okay? And it really kind of almost turned me off because I was like, this is not, there's no way I will be able to do this. Really, really discouraged me. So, but I didn't have a choice. I had to do something. I had to push myself to what am I just gonna be my couch and not do anything for the rest of my life? No. So I had to push myself. And that pushing myself meant I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to learn to believe in myself. And when I did that, it only took me 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks, not even. And I was just like them and better, okay? Because they have experience. I didn't have that experience that they had. They were there for years and years. So that's what it really took for me to kind of I got turned off, and then I went right head on. And I learned so much from that. And from that point, I always said to myself, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I know the light is at the end of the tunnel. I just need to follow the North Star. That's literally how I look at things today. My other thing was the gas station. Early on, when I worked at the gas station, which was right after the Dunkin Donuts, at the same time, I had to manage the deposits and manage the cash. So one skill that really helped me there was managing the money, knowing what to do. And mind you, all these skills, they don't teach you any of these in school, okay? This is something that you only learn through life experiences. And I managed that money. And when I say managed, I'm talking, I had to count the register. It had to be $50 before we left the gas station, and before we closed it up. Obviously learn how to do the alarm. Like at my Dunkin Donuts, there were already people doing all of that. I didn't have to learn all of that. But in that second job at the gas station, I had to learn all of that because I was doing a night shift. It's your own. You take a deposit, you finish it up, you put it in an envelope, and you're putting in there. And people trusted me to do that. So that way, the other person in the morning when they came, they could just pick up where I left off. You had to batch things out as far as the sales and just close for the night. So a lot of the nitty gritty of the inside of the business, I was able to learn, okay? And the third job that I had was the video store. The video store was honestly the funnest out of all of them because you dealt with a lot of people and learned a lot of the things that people skills kind of trickled down from all of the jobs. But one in particular is the video store because you had to really communicate with them, talk to them and say which movies you liked and which movies you didn't like and so on and so forth. Also, on top of that, I was kind of the manager there. So there's a lot of stuff to do. And we had hired people so I can delegate some work. So sometimes I had morning shifts. We'll open 2 people. And I was the one that used to be putting all of the videos back because nobody wanted that job. So I delegated that so I can work on other more important things, but I delegated it to the new staff to put all of the videos down back on the shelf. And that took sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending how busy we were, especially if you're coming in on a Sunday morning or a Monday morning from the weekend. It was crazy. So that saved me some time to be able to, whether that is look up movies that I can recommend, all of that. So there's a lot of things that you can delegate the work that that is not impactful for you or the business. That's where I kind of learned a little bit on the delegation side. Also, between all of those jobs that I had, I learned that I can't work for people. And it has nothing to do with those people or anything. They're great people, but I really couldn't just exchange my time for money. And at the same time, not only am I exchanging time for money, on top of that, I'm making them rich. I'm making them the money. I was just on the sidelines, just working in there, and that's it. And I get it. You got to start somewhere. And I don't regret any of it because it shaped me and made me who I am today. And the more I think about that, the more I'm like appreciative of those experiences because I learned so much from them. Hey, real quick, if you're serious about starting your own payment processing business, but don't know where to start, I've got something for you. I put together a free resource with everything you need to get going. No fluff, just real strategies from my 15 plus years in the industry. Click the link in the description to grab it now, and let's get back to the episode. Because I already said believe in yourself earlier. A little bit, yeah, with the comfort, with getting out of your comfort zone. Well, I mean, I can still add as an advice because believe in yourself, like it goes hand in hand with mindset. That's not going to just take 1 to 2 minutes. All of that. So to recap, here are the 4 big takeaways from my experience working 3 jobs. So remember, we talked about Dunkin Donuts and how out of my comfort zone to be able to push myself to pretty much, hey, like you got to get being uncomfortable. And that was my mindset. So I guess the actionable advice I have for you from what I have learned is step out of your comfort zone. Like if it's something that you are not okay doing or you're like, because you're a creature of habit, get into a new habit, get uncomfortable. One really small example could be start going to the gym. If you're not going to the gym in the morning and waking up, let me just tell you, I wake up every morning, right? Go to the gym. And I always I say this to my wife, I don't want to do that. It's not something I like doing, but it's something that I have made part of my life and there are no excuses. So that is getting out of your comfort zone and not only I made that a habit. I don't snooze. I never hit the snooze button because I know if I snooze, I will go back to sleep and then snooze again. So you get up and you'll be thankful. You're just teaching yourself to get out of your comfort zone. We also spoke about the gas station and how I dealt with like money management and all of that stuff. And again, these are things they don't teach you in school. So my actionable advice for you when it comes to money management, I mean, it could be something as small as if you're young, start paying bills, be responsible, be able to manage that money because that is a life lesson that will really, really help you in life, period. Because if you're not responsible, same thing what I was. I mean, I didn't own that gas station, but my responsibility was to manage that side of things. Not the money that came as a bonus, but it helped me understand it because I was now responsible. As a young man, I was responsible for the next person to come in the morning and, they were depending on me. So it's very important to understand the value of what that means, the value of money and managing it. Because once you understand that principle, it will really help you in shaping in your life and your journey. As far as time for money and what we talked about the video store and actually all of the jobs, even me mopping the floors of Dunkin Donuts, I said to myself, I just can't do this. This is not me. This is not my calling. And honestly, I don't think it's anybody's calling. If you are the person that want to continue working for people and all, that's great. I mean, that's more power to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Perfectly fine. That's not me. And it's early on. I really discovered that. So my actionable advice for you there is to figure out ways to make money, whether it's a side hustle or something where you're building on the side while still having your job. You're not losing your job. And wherever you're working, give it your best because you're there. It's like you have to respect the leaders that are running your show because they're hiring you, right? They're still paying you. So you got to give them your time, your productivity and all of that stuff. But you still have so much more time to be able to build a side hustle. And that's what you got to do. If you really want it enough, you're going to get it done. Because if I sat down in here and told you, You have 30 days. If you don't make it, you're going to lose your life. You're going to figure it out. You're going to make something happen, right? So it's not like my life was in jeopardy, but I said, I'm not doing this shit. There is another option. I'm taking it. Okay. And that's what I did. Last one, as far as the delegation side, my recommendation there is once you have built some kind of side hustle, what you can do is learn how to delegate. So if you have, so let's say you built, for example, payment processing, which this is what I did. I worked it first. I built it, made residuals. I was dealing with the customers, all of that stuff. And then eventually I hired, for example, virtual assistants, or I had hired direct people, but now it's all VAs. And those people will take care of the work that you were doing while you still look like a hero. And that is really where you start delegating things to others. And we can talk very deeply into that because you got to know what your time is worth and all of that stuff. There's a lot of calculations that you can do so it can show you like, okay, this is what you're worth, so on and so forth. So delegation is big once you have, but you got to figure it out yourself first. You can't delegate something unless you've built it first so you can teach someone how to do it and to follow your footsteps. And the last one is a bonus tip. You got to believe in yourself, okay? Early on from all my jobs, if I didn't believe in my abilities, I would not do any of those jobs, but I believed in myself, okay? And it's a matter of that mind shift. And if you're sitting down right now watching this and you're in any stage of your life, whether you're working for somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that raise, or I want this and I want that. Well, things don't just happen. You got to believe in them. You have to change your mindset, believe in yourself, and then you apply. You just go full throttle because you have that mind shift and mindset. And now you're like, almost you're full of energy, just like have blood flowing through from your brain, your heart, throughout your body. And you feel like pumped. There's a reason people say, I'm pumped. I'm ready to do this. But that starts in believing in yourself. These aren't just lessons. They're the foundation of success as an entrepreneur. Like, don't be afraid to embrace the hustle or work extra hard or go out and experience. Don't be afraid of it. Do not be afraid. And the biggest lesson here of all of it, don't be afraid of failure. Failure is great because you will learn. But the sooner you fail, the better it is. Okay? So thank you. That's a wrap for today's episode of Profit from Payments. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you found this valuable. If you're ready to take the next step, I've got something for you. Click the link in the description to join my free community and get exclusive resources to help you build passive income through payment processing faster and smarter. If this episode helped you, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep taking action, keep learning, and remember, you're closer than you think.